am in my usual spot. I'm headed up to the waffle because I love waffles. I'm going to open it up, and I want today to use this application, Drive, Google Drive. So I'm going into Drive. Here I go. And here's some stuff that I have. You'll have different stuff in your Drive. And I particularly want to work with a specific kind of file, so I need to get a new file. And I want one of these things, a Google Sheet. That's what I want. And it opens up, and then I get this thing that looks like this. And so up at the top we see the symbol for Google Sheets, and then here's the menu across the top, File, Edit, View, and so forth. And then there's some tools in this toolbar right here that we'll get to using a little bit later on. There's a share button over there. Right now it's private for me, but you can share it with other people if you want. And then we have this big space down here. And across the top we can see that here is a row of letters. Starts off with A, and it goes across. I can see as far as R. Maybe it goes further than that. How could I see if it goes any further? Well, I come down here to the bottom, and when I mouse over this little bar down at the bottom, see how it goes dark gray, and I can slide it. I can push down the left mouse button and hold it down and slide it across, and it goes all the way to Z. A to Z, or as they say in the United States, Z. But in Canada we call it Z. I could make it go further than that if I wanted, but that'll do for now. And scroll back over here. So here's A, B, C, D, etc. And if I click on the A, see how it lights up blue, and so that is lighting up what we call column A. So this right here going all the way down, how far down does it go? Let's see, I'm going down, 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 down. I'm scrolling the wheel. Look, I'm down here at 612, 600, all the way to 622. It even goes further than that. I don't need to be down there, but it goes down a long way. It can go down a very long way if we want. I'm here A, and so that's a column, and here's another column, B. This is column B, and this is column G over here, and so forth. Here's column P. So these are the columns, the ones that go down. If you look over here, you can see numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And if I highlight the 1 and click it, I get this line that goes this way from left to right, and that's a row. That's row 1. And this is row 2, and this is row 3. So this is row 1, this is column A, and this little rectangle right here is called a cell. It's not a square because it's not square, it's rectangular. Okay? And it has an address. Just like your house has an address, the address of this cell is A1. So we always say the column first and we say the row after. So if I came over here and I clicked on this one, what would be the address of this cell here? Yeah, it would be F1. So the F column in the 1 spot. What if I came down here? What would be the address of this? Well, we go up here and we look, it would be D15. D15. So that's how you identify a particular cell. When you want to put something in and tell people where to put it, you can say you put it in cell A5. That would be right there. And then they know that that's the cell that you're talking about when you start to put things into your sheet. Some people call this a spreadsheet. It's a sheet or a spreadsheet. It's the same thing. And you can put all kinds of different information in here, and that's what we're going to be doing in a minute or two. Now, one thing spreadsheets are really, really good for is organizing information. They're really good at doing math, but we're going to use them for organizing today. And so I want you to create a spreadsheet we'll review at the end. But the first thing I want to do on here is I want to pick a spot, and I want to put this in that spot. It says name. So this is where this one is in C5. So in D5 you're going to put your name. Next, underneath, we're going to collect information about your age. So you're going to type age underneath that, and then you're going to put this word, event, and you're going to follow that by putting home. This is the 4 pieces of information I want you to collect. So when I enter this in, when I type in name, I just type N-A-M-E, and then I press the enter key on my keyboard. You know where that is because you've studied the keyboard. That automatically means that name will go into this spot, and the cell entry point will drop down and take you to the one underneath. So now this is kind of ready to go, but it's not very big. It doesn't seem very big to me. I feel like it should be a bit bigger than that. That'll make it easier to see. So I'm going to highlight these by pushing down the left mouse button and holding it down, and then dragging my mouse down until it all gets highlighted and it shows up. See how it's inside this box with a little square on the corner, and if I mouse over it, you see how it changes. I want these to be highlighted, and then I'm going to come up here to this ribbon, and this number right here, if I mouse over it, it says font size. Font size. Font is the shape of the letters. And over here it says font. You can see it pops up, font. Font is the shape of the letters. So this is what they look like in terms of their shape, and this is how big they are. Font size, and this is the name of that font, what they look like. And I want to change the font, so I have this little arrow right here that points downward, and when I click on it, all of these things pop up. And each of these is a different font. That means they're the same letters you've always used, A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, but the letters just look kind of different. So let's pick one down here. Let's pick this one, Georgia. I'm going to click Georgia, and it changes, and I want it to be bigger. I know I want it to be bigger, so I'm going to say 18. Oh, it's a lot bigger. And notice, here's an example. Look at the letter G. The shape of the letter G. That's a little different. I still have it highlighted. It's still selected. So let's go up and change it to this one, Comic Sans, and just see. Now the G looks like this. So it's the shape of the letters, or really the style of the letters, that we're changing. Let's try it again. Let's try this one down here. I saw one that looked cool. Lobster. I have to try it. Lobster. Let's make it even bigger. Go up to here and make it 36. Name, age. Look at this. It's almost kind of like handwriting. And so that's kind of cool. So maybe you like lobster. I don't know. You can choose when you make yours. You can choose whichever font from this list right here. And look, there are lots of them. There's a bunch that go down here, and you might have different ones than me. It doesn't matter. You just pick one that you like and pick a fairly big size. Pick something that shows up like that. Now, across the top, we get to put some other information. And I think what we'll do is we'll put a year in here. And so what the first year I want you to put in here is the year that you were born. So I'm going to put mine in. Mine is this one right here, 1957. And I'm going to make that bigger. And I'm going to use lobster because used lobster for this, and I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to make it 24. 1957. Okay, let's see what happens if I grab this and drag it across. It copies it. See that? It just copied it. I didn't even have to type it in again. I just dragged that thing across, but I don't like it, so I'm going to use this button up here, which is like a little arrow that arcs backwards, and when I click on that it says undo. That means undo. This one means, oh, put it back, redo it. Oh, undo it, redo it, undo it, redo it, undo it. Okay, that's fine. What I want you to type in here is the year after the year you were born. For me, that's this. Notice the font, it's not the same. You have to change it again. Now I'm going to drag my mouse until I highlight the both of them. Drag them across here. And now, look what happens. 1957, 1958, 1959, 1960, 61, 62, 63. See, it built one for every year, except it copied exactly what was here. One of them was lobster and one of them wasn't. So I've got to go back here. Highlight them all with the mouse, hold the button down and drag across, and go up and pick lobster and pick, what did we say, 24. There we go. Now I've got the years from 1957 all the way to 1965. Okay? So now I want you to start filling in this thing right here. We call it a table. I want you to fill it in. I want you to put the year you were born here, and I want you to drag across until you get one of these columns for each year you've been alive. And for you, of course, the last one is going to be 2020, because that's the year that we're in right now. So whatever year you were born, you need to go across far enough to get to 2020. So this year will be 2019, and this would be 2018, etc. Right? All the way back to the year that you were born. And then we're going to drag some of these columns around. So see, they're all exactly the same width, and I want this column to be a little bit wider. So I'm coming up here to the top here, and I get that funny shaped arrow with an arrowhead on each end, and I'm just going to drag that column, make it a little bit wider. And these are all lining up. See how they're lining up next to the edge on the right. They're lining up to the edge of the right side of the column. I wish they would be in the middle of the column. I want them to be in the middle of the column. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to drag across, hold my mouse button down and drag across, and I'm going to come up to this one up here, and when I mouse over it, it says horizontal alignment, and I want that to go like this, which center it, put it in the middle. Boom, and now they move. Now you're going to put your name here. I'll put my name in here. That's not really my name, but right. And my age. Right? So in 1957, well, my name was the same. So it's the same all the way across. I don't really need to add it in. But my age was 0. I was just 0 years old. And then the next year I was 1 year old. And then next year I was 3 years old, like that. And now if I highlight them and I grab this and I drag it across, look what happened. Alright, I start to get, now this is showing fractions. Doesn't matter. I can get rid of those. Here we go. Easy. So you'll add this and you'll fill it in yourself. An event would be something that happened to you that year. So in the very first year, in 1957, so I was filling it in, I would just type in here, I was born, which was a pretty big event. And down here, I want you to type in where. Where was your home? Where were you born? In that first year, where were you born? And for me, that would be here. Marden, Kent, UK. Marden was the town, Kent was the county, and UK is the country. I need to make it a bit wider, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag it a little bit wider like that. You type in the place that you were born. So as you fill in this chart going across this way, you type in the name of something that happened, how old you were up here, something that happened to you that was important, right? And then something here that is where you lived at that time. So if I was to type over here in 2020, by the time I get over here, I might be typing London, Ontario, Canada, right? You won't be typing that in. You'll be typing wherever you live. So we're going to fill this table in. Your name is going to stay the same because it's always the same. Whatever your name is, it's going to be the same all that time. But your age is going to go up by 1 as you fill it in. And the event is going to be different each year, a special event. And you might need someone to help you with that. Like you might say, well, when did I walk? How old was I when I walked? Maybe that's this year. Maybe you walked when you were 1 year old or 2 or something. Or I learned to say mama and daddy over here. Or I learned to ride a bike. Or I had a brother or sister who arrived. Or we moved to a new house. Or I went to school for the first time. These have to be important events. And your home needs to be the city, the state, or the province, and the country where you were living at that time. And when you're done, you're not done until you come up here and you click in this space. And notice when I get up there, it changes. Click it, and it goes blue like that, and then you're going to type in my life. So we gave this document, this sheet, a name. It was my life, and your job is to create a sheet that looks like this. You can use any font you want, any size you want. Start off with the year you were born and go across until you get to this year, and then fill this in. Name, age, event, home. And when you're done, send me an email and say, I'm done. That is your homework.